Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Political Job Interview, where I interview candidates running for election. I'm Vincenzo Calla, the host, and today I take on the role as the boss, giving a job interview to today's candidate, Pat McGarry. Pat is running for election for Ottawa City Council as a candidate for Ward 8 College. Thank you, Pat, for your time, and thank you for joining me today.
Oh, Vincenzo, thank you very much for having me.
It's great to have you here today, and without further ado, let's get this job interview started. So as with any good job interview, I'm starting off with an opportunity to learn more about Pat. So the first question, Pat, is can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your story?
Sure. So I grew up right here in Ottawa. I grew up down on Preston Street, actually, so Little Italy. I was the second of four children. My father was an electrician and my mother was an administrator and often had two jobs, actually. So a fairly modest upbringing, but wonderful upbringing. And so I have, like I said, I grew up down in Preston Street, had every opportunity to play outside, go to Plouffe Park, skate, swim, ride my bike, all those things. And so very fond of my childhood. And then at 12 years old, my parents separated and I ended up moving out to the West End. And so that's when I became a long-time West End resident. And so just to fill in a few more blanks, as a child, I had the opportunity to play hockey. And I was fortunate enough to be a pretty good hockey player. And I always say playing hockey at a Barbara Scott Arena, which is, of course, in College Ward, provided me with every opportunity that it has opened so many doors for me in my life. And it's one of the reasons why I'm a big advocate for youth to have the opportunity to participate in recreation as well as arts and other very essential services. So that allowed me to be exposed to other families, to other ways that other people were living. And at the time, I was exposed to people who lived in very, they were healthy income families, and then there were very poor families, in fact. And as a child, of course, it's an opportunity to learn, and that's one of the things that I very much contribute to who I am today. The opportunities to see different things and to be exposed that way. So in Woodruff High School, which is just outside College Ward, but a lot of residents go to Woodruff High School, is where I actually met my high school sweetheart. We ended up staying together for a long time, including marriage. But my hockey career took me away from Ottawa for a number of winters, and I was able to play junior hockey, and then I used the university, actually school, to pay for my university. And it's, again, one of those things that just, again, opened up those doors for me. Started working at Host Play for McGarry in 1991, which is another really key thing in my life. It was a summer job, and I got to see firsthand the importance of funeral service and helping people at a difficult time. So although I was always a child who helped people and cared for others and got along very well with people, this was a whole new perspective for me on not only the ability to help people, but also the very different cultural communities in our city as well. And so I got exposed there. I finished, I did more university, and then I actually played some professional hockey. So I played 3 years of professional hockey. At one time, I was drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs as a goalie. And I always tell people they kept the wrong goalie because they never won a Stanley Cup. So that's what the story I'm going with. So married, we raised our family. My unfortunately late wife now, we had separated in a few years, about 10 years ago, but she actually passed away last year. So we have two children though. We have a daughter and a son, both now working in Ottawa, and very proud of them. So we chose Bel Air Heights to raise our family. And so that was very much, of course, how I got to know the ward so well, is not only through my own youth and being around the ward, but also with raising my family there. And what else can I say? 30 years plus of working with Horseplay for McGarry. I do have an ownership position now. So I didn't grow up in the funeral business. A lot of people think I'm a son. I'm not. I'm a second cousin to previous owners, and so I've kind of had to build my way up all the way through. So my life has certainly been filled with a lot of great things, but like anybody else's life, it's had a number of challenges as well. And I'm a person who is open about those challenges, and because I think we all grow and learn. And the other thing I realize is just the importance of receiving help from people. And so it's one of the big reasons why I'm running, actually, is because I get great satisfaction from helping people. I always have, and so that's something that I want to continue doing in a new way.
Well, definitely, and especially yourself working in the funeral business, you get to, like you said, you helped a lot of people, and you have met a lot of people. And Horseplay for McGarry has become a pillar sort of in the Ottawa community. I mean, I usually listen to CFRA and I hear the commercials there all the time. And maybe just if you can, we were chatting about this before. You are known as Patrick McGarry there for your business, but you're running as Pat McGarry. Is there any specific reason why?
Yes, there is. There is because so as much as I'm known professionally as Patrick, my friends and my family call me Pat. And so as a counselor for the ward, I think it's very important that people feel that they are family. And if I can't get them to feel family, I certainly want them to feel as a friend, because it's so important that people feel represented. And I'm talking to a person who is a few generations younger than myself. We talked about this. You're in between my own children's ages and my stepchildren's ages. And my hat's off to you, Vincenzo, for being engaged, because it's a big goal of mine as well with this election, is to let people, especially youth, know that it's important to get involved and you do have a voice. And it's one of the reasons why I'm selecting municipal politics, is because I really believe that I can have an impact, an immediate impact, and a strong impact on the people I care most about.
Well, and thank you for that. And it's so right. I mean, I'm going to go on to the next question soon, but municipal politics is a great way to get involved, especially for young people, because it's probably the most grassroots form of politics that we see in our local communities. And it's just so important to get involved in municipal election is a great way to get involved for young people. So we're going to go on to the next question, which is, why have you decided to run for this position?
So the people, in fact, have been telling me for decades, Patrick or Pat, you got to go for politics. You got to become mayor. You got to do something. And it just was never the right time. So obviously, running a business is a big operation, and having a young family is a big operation. All those things. So it just didn't work out for those times. And as I reflect, it is something that I realize now I wouldn't have had the maturity to serve properly as well as a counselor. I wouldn't have said that before, but I can tell you now that I'm 51, I'll be 52 in November. I realize that, there's a lot of things that I've learned over the years, a lot of experiences that I've had. So those experiences have made me a very different person than I was 20 years ago. And although I would have worked hard 20 years ago, as I will work hard now, it's just what I do. I get through challenges through grit and integrity and making the right decision for the right time. But I realize that that's the case. So I'm extremely fortunate to be with my fiance is very supportive of me being a counselor. My family is as well. My business partners are very open and supportive of this. This is, as you mentioned, Horseplay for McGarry has been a part of the Ottawa community for, believe it or not, almost 100 years. We'll be celebrating our 100-year anniversary of service. And it's nothing new for our company to provide staff or employees or owners with the opportunity to volunteer, whether it's be at service clubs or community groups or churches, but also at school boards, at municipal level and higher levels of politics. And so I'm just following the footsteps of those who have been our founders and all those that have worked so hard over the years to give Hospital McGarry the reputation that we have.
Well, we'll definitely, and especially, I'm sure something that we'll talk about a little more as we talk about your accomplishments and your achievements and your hopes as an elected official. The next segment is called About the Job, and we're going to take a little bit of time to talk about the job and what you bring to it. So the first question is, why do you think you are the best candidate for this job?
I bring an experience from helping people at their most difficult times of their lives. And as I said to, as I was reviewing what was involved in a counselor, being a counselor, at the New Year is when I first started to think about this, although I first seriously started to think about this, I should say. And I went through all of the things that a counselor is expected to do. And those are very much what is my fabric of being of my person. Being available when people are in need, that's what I do all the time. Solving problems. I'm a problem solver. I like to provide solutions and help people that way. 24/7 funeral services, 24/7. Of course, a counselor's role is that as well. You don't know when things are going to happen, but as a leader, it's so important that even if you don't have the answers right away, that you show up and you listen and you find out what the problems are. And that's what's called respectful representation. That's what proper leadership is. And so, all of those things made me think that, hey, I can do this. And then, of course, when I talked to others, I was very humbled by so many people that were offering support. And the reason why is because I've either helped them in a professional way, or I've helped them as a friend. I've helped them through, I've done so many community service groups and events over the years. And so, I never really think too much about where my help is going to end up. But interestingly, for whatever boards I've been on, both professionally and locally as well, it seems where I get engaged, and I learned very early on in board work that my voice matters. And I was fortunate to be supported enough at a young age to be on a regulatory body for Ontario Board of Funeral Services, for instance. I was the youngest board member ever to be elected and part of that. And so I was surrounded by very accomplished people, both professional and public members. And I remember one of the professional members saying to me, first meeting, he said, "Patrick, you're here for a reason. Your voice matters." And I've always taken that. And I don't know, sometimes people probably regret all the things I bring up, but I'm known as a collaborative person. I'm known as a person that can take very challenging and chaotic situations and bring order to them. I'm a good listener. I'm a person that respects others. That's where it all starts. And so at the end of the day, that's how you problem solve. And I've been part of really interesting problem solving experiences. So, I think that makes me a good candidate. What makes me probably, I would hope, in my opinion anyways, a very good candidate is, again, I'm here to help. I have no other alternative motives than just serving the members of the residents of College Ward. So I have that. I have a business background as well. I just completed my executive MBA in 2020 through the University of Ottawa. That was a goal of mine, and I did it. People ask me all the time, like, how do you do all these things? And I'm a curious person, and I like to be busy, and I like challenges, and I like helping people solve problems. So this is how that is. And so the business side of things, I think the fact that I am a business owner, and I understand what it's like to have a team of people that rely on the business succeeding. And I understand what it's like to make payroll. I understand the value of costs. I understand that there's different ways to spend a dollar, and I understand the need for efficiency. And with all the things that are happening within our city, which is a great city, we have a lot to be thankful for, and we should be thankful for all those that have done so much work in previous years, but the reality is that there is challenges. And some of those challenges are within the city that we can fix. Others are outside. But within the city, I'm very excited to think of some of the ways that I can get involved, whether it's through our light rail system, whether it's through some of the policing, whether it's through smart development. We have a need for a lot of affordable housing. So there's so many areas. And since I like being busy, I figured it was a good idea to, this would be a perfect job for me.
Well, all very important factors, and I'm going to continue on that before I keep responding on to sort of a continuation of that. And you've already touched on this, but maybe a little more. What experience do you bring to this job? I know you've already touched on that, but a little more.
Sure. So specific experience is number one, being out, helping people at the most difficult times of their lives has taught me a lot. And it's taught me that you need to be in front of people. You need to show that you care. And from there, people will start to trust you. And once they trust you, then you can help them in greater ways. So that's one of the things. The other thing is I've been fortunate to be on large boards and small boards. And I think a business background is needed today at City Hall for the councillors. I think that the fact that I have been chair of an organization that's, it's not $4 billion annually budget, but it was $1 billion of value in that organization. It was a not-for-profit as well. So, I was responding to members. I was making sure, and I implemented so many things there that were new, but so well received that organization grew and grew and grew. So I understand what my role as a councillor at City Hall will be, number one, to represent the residents of College Ward and provide them a strong voice, make sure the residents of College Ward their needs are being listened to, and make sure that I'm working hard for them. Beyond that, as a board member, I would be one of 25 board members at the City of Ottawa. And so there's a difference for, when a board member, we're about setting policy and setting direction. The City of Ottawa has a very large team of professionals that work there, that work very hard. And so, that's what they should be doing. And as a board member, I think my fiscal responsibility that I've shown over the years is needed now as well. And so I'm experienced with all of those things. And I think that's another skill that I can bring to the table that I just very needed for our city.
And it really is. You touched on a lot of the big points and a lot of the issues facing our city and sort of the ideas of this election, really. Part of serving as an elected official is serving the people who elect you. So here are a few questions about how Pat wants to serve the people. The first question is, what is something that the people you would like to serve the people of College Ward need that you would like to get done if elected?
So there's, I've been door knocking quite a bit, and I've been talking to the community associations as well as the businesses. I've been going to visit businesses. It's a very large geographic ward and a very diverse ward as far as incomes and needs. But some of the things that are standard across would be in regards to infrastructure, setting that up properly. College Ward is basically the center of the City of Ottawa. And so it's a key hub, obviously, for the rest of our city. And when we talk about the needs for Barrhaven, those affect our College Ward as well, because if we don't solve Barrhaven's transportation issues, then they're going to end up in College Ward. So that's something. It's relatively it's a safer than average ward for our city, and of course our city is overall very safe in comparison to many other large cities. But we do have a problem with vehicle traffic. We do have a problem of we have some wonderful bike lanes, we have some wonderful bike paths, things like that, but there's still challenges there. So those are some of the things that I think need attention. Smart growth is something I touched on previously, and we do have a need for more affordable housing. And I think when I look at the college work, there's plenty of opportunity for that. And it's plenty of opportunity to do it smartly. I'm a person, our company is, like I said, 100 years old. And so we don't think about, what do we have to do to, and we're locally owned too. So we don't have to think about, what are shareholders' returns, things like that. We have a very long vision for our company. And it's something I've learned from the Indigenous community as well. I've been fortunate to spend some time. And they literally look, every decision is, what is this going to affect 6 generations from now? And so I think that's part of smart development, because smart development, you can absolutely address the environmental issues that we must address. I'm a realist, and we do need to address environmental issues. We need to address social issues as well. We do have a great opportunity to make our communities more inclusive, to give more hands up for those that would certainly take those hands. And then, of course, we have the economics. And the economics is that we need to be smart for for businesses, local businesses. If businesses are thriving, that's going to help our community. And I talk to others about the value of keeping money in communities and the recirculation of $1 and how that multiplies. And it really does make a difference, because obviously there's jobs and then there's repurchases, et cetera, et cetera. So when I talk about smart development, I talk about environmentally conscious, social conscious, and also economic that works for the developers and for those that are helping us to meet the needs of our growing community. And then, of course, there's an affordability issue right now. I've been to numerous fundraisers and numerous canvases for food banks, for instance. As we know, there's a great need for people right now. And I really do worry about what has to be sacrificed when people are worried about putting food on their table. I talked earlier about my strong belief and strong support for the services that the city provides for youth and for elders as well, for activities, whether they be recreational or arts. And I worry that there's families that are having to not put, Johnny or Jill into an activity because they can't afford it. So one of the things that I bring to the table is, again, through my experiences, the understanding that that we can't just increase taxes all the time. We need to be smart. We need to be, people are fine to pay taxes if they know that it's being fiscally used responsibly. And that's one of the things that, again, I will bring to the table, because I ask questions, and things that people think can't be asked, I will ask those questions in a respectful way, because I know, again, that you need to bring the issues forward in order to get the right answers, and you need to have the right people at the table in order to get the right answers. So as a councillor, I'm going to have an advisory group. I'm going to have open door policies, and I'm going to be listening to the residents, and I'm going to be making sure that every resident feels heard. And I'm also going to represent. I'm going to fight very hard. I'm going to work very hard for the residents of College Ward.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, there's a lot of talk right now, especially about those big 3 forms of development you're talking about. And especially College Ward's a big ward. Like you said, you have lots of parts in it. You have some Bell's Corners in it. You have the college area, I guess. And with that, there's a lot of ranging of age groups too. There's a lot of students in your ward, and there's a lot of aging population as well. So being able to represent all of them and representing all of their issues and all of their concerns and needs is just so important as well, and facing them with all those points. And we're going to go into the final question, which is, what is one accomplishment that you have achieved that demonstrates why you would be a good elected official if the people of College Ward choose you?
Well, I've had a lot of challenges, and I read this question before, and I thought, what is one accomplishment? So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter so much what I say about myself, but I think more about what others say about myself. And I'm going to refer back to that organization that I had spoken to, the not-for-profit organization, where we were representing members and such. And I was fortunate enough to be a chair of that board. And I will tell you, when I became chair of that board, I wasn't sure I was so fortunate. There was a number of issues that were kind of being swept underneath the carpet for a long time. And I don't know, it's interesting, you know, people are asking, you know, why are you doing this? And I really believe right now in my life at this time, my being running for council position is really a calling. It's not a job. It's not, it's a calling. And that's what happened with this other organization. And so one of the first things I did as a new chair was, after finding out the information by speaking to the team, the staff that was there, and this was the board that was located out of Toronto. So I was working in Ottawa, but going to Toronto regularly. And I found that there needed to be change at the top. And so made the necessary decision to change the president's role. Put in somebody temporarily that I think aligned properly with the skills and, more importantly, the members' needs for the organization. It's a financial type of organization, so you know there's needs for some financial acumen and such. But when you're a member-based organization, and the city is a member-based organization, you need to be able to be relatable to the people that you're representing. And so the president provided me with a testimonial, and I'm just going to answer your question by reading what she wrote, okay? She says that it's with confidence and enthusiasm that she endorses the character and integrity of Patrick McGarry. Patrick is a conscientious leader possessing an ethical and thoughtful mindset. Patrick served on the board of directors of GFD of Canada from 2013 to 2019, serving as the chair of the board 2015 to 17. During his time on the board, Patrick demonstrated that he is a creative thinker who has the ability to approach problems from an analytical perspective. He is a kind man, that's very important to me, who is well liked by our board and staff for his attentive, caring manner and his affable sense of humor. I like that part. That's not everybody tells me that. He is not afraid to take action when required and is respected for his ability to make concise decisions and keep others to task during meetings and planning sessions. Patrick skillfully cultivates consensus through a collaborative and energetic approach to complex problems. He possesses the courage to address sensitive issues directly, seeking to understand diverse perspectives with compassion and empathy. There's a little bit more, but hopefully that, you know, provides, I can't think of a greater accomplishment than to have others speak about a person that way. And I'm very humbled that that's the case. So there's others that, you know, I could refer to, but you asked for one, so I'm trying to keep it to one.
And really, that's a great way to end our interview today. Just having that idea of having that experience, having those accomplishments, and putting those forward when you are running for such a great position, such as a city council member in the capital city of Canada.
I'm excited. Thank you.
So thank you, Pat, for joining me today. It was great having you, and I'm sure the viewers have enjoyed hearing what you have to offer to them. Election day is on October 24th, 2022, and if you liked hearing what Pat had to say and live in Ward 8 College, you have the opportunity to vote for him on Election Day. Check with your local election officials for more details. To stay updated, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at BC Productions 25. Check out my website, vincenzocalla.com, and make sure to like, subscribe, and choose to get notifications here on YouTube. The Political Job Interview is a VCalla production. So until the next video, I'm Vincenzo Calla, signing out.